there's been a lot of movement in this league today, but there's no greater attention and spotlight in this moment than there has been on Trinity Rodman. There's been a lot going on in terms of the back and forth of negotiations, where things are coming from, where things are headed. If you've been struggling, keep up.
No, I'm sure nobody feels that way.
If you've been struggling to keep up with what's been going on, because it feels like it's not even day to day, like it's hour to hour, minute to minute, second to second. I went ahead and I took a deep dive on a timeline of the Trinity Rodman contract situation. And I decided to go like way back. Like I wanted to because this really stems from the previous contract, which came out of her 2021 rookie year, a contract that made a lot of news even back then. It was really cutting edge for its time. Maybe really the start of what we're witnessing now, because a 4-year deal that she signed out of her rookie season broke that $1 million threshold. And now, as we fast forward to December 2025, as her contract is expiring, we're talking completely different numbers here. We're talking about numbers that would essentially be cap breaking for a team if they threw their hat in this ring in NWSL. And in the Spirits case, there was a deal on the table that the club and player agreed to at the time that was essentially vetoed by NWSL Commissioner Jessica Berman because it violated the spirit of the league rules. Everybody's had a lot of fun with that supposed allegation of a quote, and it's just become part of this ongoing story. In response, the NWSLPA has filed a grievance on Rodman's behalf, and so there's been just a lot of back and forth. What does it all mean, especially with the grievance, because that meant that once you file that official complaint, the league essentially has 14 days to respond or not respond, and it adds time to something that maybe there's not a lot of time for. And that sort of feels like where the urgency is now coming into play in this scenario, because now, even though everybody knew going into this year was going to be a big contract year for Trinity Rodman, it's all coming down to this final moment. And we've got more to add on to this, because the most latest update in a report that ESPN filed Wednesday evening, it states that NWSL owners are considering a vote on a roster mechanism that will essentially allow teams to pay star players more than what the salary cap actually allows. And there's some interesting things within that too, because this potential new mechanism, it wouldn't be the first of its kind in American pro soccer, no, but it would be a first to NWSL. So unlike an MLS designated player rule, this proposed concept would not allow teams to offer unlimited funds to any player. Each club would have a set amount of money beyond the current cap to spend on star players that meet specific criteria. And those funds could be used on multiple players. And so this is all a proposal. It still needs to be voted on. And not only does the mechanism have to be voted on, but that also includes really kind of finalizing whatever parameters define a star player.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's the bizarre thing, because it's actually exactly what happens in MLS. Like, those players are DPs and they're star players, right? So is it a number of goals? Is it a number of moments? Is it, hey, I'm offered X amount of money in different leagues, so I should be getting that here so I can stay in domestic league? I think the difficult thing is, this has been building for a long time. And I don't know, Sandra, maybe you know this, how many Board of Governors meetings there has been, but why wait till the last one in December to finally figure this out? Because this has been eating away at the league over the last, I would say, 3 or 4 transfer windows, with players leaving and trying to figure out a way to get them to stay. I think it's a magnificent idea. I've been calling for it because we want these players to be in here in the league. And also another point that I think is really important, when you take that money then off the salary cap, because you're not paying, maybe you're paying that person max salary, but then the rest is, maybe they wouldn't have been able to, maybe not even max salary, right? Is that providing more money for other players within the salary cap, because I don't know if it's their whole contract isn't under the salary cap, it's only a certain amount. I think that's something that needs to be thought about too, because if you can take a big star player's money off of the salary cap, then that other money can be distributed to other players and keep other players who are emerging in the league as well.
And also those role players. The NWSL is one of the most competitive and the best leagues in the world because they have glue players of teams that have been around and played several years or played with multiple clubs and understand the type of league it is. It is transitional. It is physical. It's also getting more technical. You need those players to almost bridge the gap between the superstars and some of the rookies that are coming in and trying to get adjusted to the game, but also paying them a little bit more, because we've seen them take a little bit of a knock in salary this past year with the changes. They have to figure something out. The league has to figure something out because they're constantly losing stars. Naomi Girma, Alyssa Thompson, and now Trinity Rodman is the next conversation. And if they don't figure this out now, the issue is only going to arise again next transfer window or at the end of the next year when different players' contracts come up, because there are still a lot of stars in the NWSL. But if the league doesn't pay them what they're wanting and what they deserve, we're going to see these stars start to trickle out.
Sandra, one quick thing. Can we put that comment back up on the screen? Because I think that was a really good comment that just came through with a couple of different points to it. We need to make sure the league stays in business. And yes, I agree. But I do think that there are owners in this league who are willing to spend money in order to make their teams excellent. Michelle Kang has already proved that, right? She's going to do whatever it takes. And so I think we need to acknowledge that and say, okay, if we can keep the best players in here, then players from around the world are going to want to come here and play. Like, I think that this is a big sticking point for people not wanting to come into this league. But also the salary cap then creates a league where there's not a couple of dominant teams, which is that second point. I think that you still have the salary cap. You know, is one star player going to secure your team winning year in and year out? The Washington Spirit have had Trinity Rodman and they've won once. So I don't believe it will, but I do believe you're going to start to get some bigger name players. Can you get Sam Kerr back? Can you get Bon Mati to come over and be one of these star players? Like, of course, we don't know what the criteria is. Is it an American player? Is it a non-American player? We don't know about that. Maybe that's part of the criteria. But I do think that in order to continue to push to be the best league, you know, we saw MLS do this in their 11th year. Now NWSL is really going into their 14th year, right? Technically. I think it's time. You see the tables turning, you see the league progressing to this next step. And it feels to me like this could be a really good solution in order to continue this league progressing in the right direction.
These stars and the players, like keeping Trinity Rodman in the league, of course, is good for Washington Spirit. Their on the ball play, their goal scoring. Also, so many of the non-tangibles that Trinity Rodman brings. She brings a personality to this league, to Washington Spirit, and a face to it, right? That is how also leagues grow in terms of marketing capabilities and recognizability. If you have a superstar that is winning gold medals with the U.S. women's national team, then playing for the local club in Washington, D.C., that is a connect, and that helps grow the game on a global level that I think the NWSL is going to miss out on if they don't try to find a way to get some of these stars to retain them and also bring in other stars.
That's the inflection point that this scenario is at right now, because I think it went from the good faith back and forth, which is to your point, earlier point, Jordan. You're just like, why are they having this meeting now? Because I mean, I think there was a lot of that concept in the beginning stages of any negotiation. There's that good faith. There's still time. Let's go back and forth. And now that sense of urgency is that internal clock, I think, is going off for everybody. And I think you hear that. Yeah, we got to speak to Haley Carter with the Washington Spirit. She did a very lengthy media availability. I mean, she gave us like an hour of her time alongside Nathan Minion to talk about just her arrival and her process in getting and accepting the role with Washington Spirit. But, of course, there were plenty of questions about Rodman and that ongoing situation. And I think that's really where it is now. Like, it's kind of gone past that good faith. It kind of got into the ugly phase a little bit, obviously with the veto and now the grievance. And now it's like the time is ticking away. There has to be a solution. And there's these multiple things that can be true, to the points that Paul Brown made in the chat and that you noted on, Jordan, in terms of like, they have to get creative and they have to figure out a solution because there's enough evidence at this point that shows the league needs to do more to be able to compete with negotiating these types and kinds of salaries, and they don't have those mechanisms in place. And it's like this strange merry-go-round where it goes back and forth, and it's like, well, that's because the salary cap keeps the league competitive and blah 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 blah. And it's just like, we're in a new era of NWSL. When this league got started, there was the argument that there were clubs who were more competitive than other clubs in the league a decade ago because they had more USWNT stars. That's why there was an allocation system in place, a player allocation system in place. Guess what doesn't exist anymore? That they did away with that. Like
draft.
This league,
so many things, right?
There's so many things that have changed in this league over, year 1 to year 13, that this kind of fixation for me on the salary cap is kind of funny. It's like, no one's saying that you have to smash it away to smithereens, but there do need to be some different, more creative solutions when it comes to very unique circumstances. And Trinity Rodman in this current contract situation has become one of those unique circumstances. And Haley Carter was adamant about that as well in all of her conversing, that she sees all of the sides and all of the angles on it, but that is the moment they are at. They have to figure out a creative solution.
That's one of the very evident things about all this entire saga that is happening. Trinity Rodman wants to stay in the NWSL.
Well, they agreed on a contract. So that, I think, is one of the biggest things that has happened over the last week.
Absolutely. Which says that she wants to stay, which says that she is willing to make it work, that she is willing to bend a little bit, maybe not take as high of a salary as is being offered at other clubs in different leagues. Now the NWSL has to bend a little because they obviously want Trinity Rodman to stay. Commissioner Jessica Berman has said that they want Rodman to stay. They have to find a compromise. There has to be bending on both sides of this. There's a lot of working ideas out there. Like, right, even you look at other professional leagues, the MLB, Major League Baseball, NBA, they have a soft salary cap. They have a luxury tax, which provides a different wrinkle. Like, there are so many different avenues and different solutions for this to be figured out. We just have to get there. And clock is ticking. It's December 11th. Her contract.
Well, one more board of governors meeting. So
they gotta go.